Hello everybody, it is Emery48 here, and today's video is Star Wars Darth Bane Dynasty of Evil by Drew Karpyshyn. The price for this is the same as the other two in the trilogy, at $19 for the set. This book takes place in 980 BBY, which is 20 years after Bane of the Sith. Prologue. Bane woke up in his mansion on Ciutric 4 to begin doing some lightsaber training. Bane has become disappointed with Zana because he believes she is waiting until he's old and weak to challenge him, taking away her deserving the title of Dark Lord of the Sith. He is determined to find Darth Andendu's holocron because Andendu found a way to live for centuries. Bane also wants to live for centuries, so he has time to train another, more worthy apprentice. Chapter 1. A Jedi Knight, Med Tandar, was meeting with the leader of a rebel group, Gelba, on the mining planet of Doan. He was acting as a mediator between the rebels and the royal family. Med had been sent by the Jedi Council because the miners had dug up a tomb with artifacts the Council believed had been touched by the dark side. An assassin hired by the royal family, that's what it was assumed, interrupted the meeting. Killing the miners present, she distorted Med's ability to touch the Force and killed Med in an explosion. Chapter 2. Sarah, the recent widow of the Crown Prince on Doan, who was killed by the rebel miners, is also the daughter of the healer Caleb from Ambria. She has been summoned by the King of Doan to meet him. Her bodyguard, Lucia, a former sniper for the Gloomwalkers of the Brotherhood of Darkness, will accompany Sarah to the meeting. Sarah and Lucia met while Lucia was a bounty hunter. Lucia was almost killed by another bounty hunter while going after a bounty in the hospital Sarah was working at. Sarah saved Lucia's life, and Lucia pledged her allegiance to protect Sarah. The king told Sarah that the assassin was hired without his knowledge and a Jedi had been killed. Sarah agreed to go to Coruscant to explain to the Jedi Council that the death of the Jedi was an unfortunate accident and the king was not involved. After the meeting, Lucia admitted to Sarah that she had hired the assassin. Sarah was thankful that her longtime friend and bodyguard had done that. Sarah wants Lucia to join her on Coruscant as this news does not change the message Sarah was going to deliver. Chapter 3. Bane, through one of his contacts, Argel, had discovered that a temple was built on Prakith to honor Andendu by his followers. Bane is convinced this is the location of Andendu's holocron. Bane wants to go find it without Zana knowing the true intention of his mission. Bane was always interested in investigating deaths of Jedi as it meant someone powerful had killed them. He used the death of Med on Doan as a way to distract Zana from his mission. Bane hopes he will go to Prakith and retrieve the holocron while Zana is investigating on Doan. Bane also expects that he will return to Ciutric 4 before Zana does to not give her any suspicion of his mission occurring. Chapter 4. Zana is leaving for Doan. She was informed by a customs officer at the airport, Chet, that Argel had recently arrived to meet with Bane. She stored that information away while taking off. She decided this would be the last mission where she answers to Bane. She is determined to become the Master. Zana is hoping that whoever killed the Jedi on Doan will be a worthy apprentice for her to continue the Sith legacy. Chapter 5. Sarah and Lucia met with Master Oba, Med's master, on Coruscant. During their meeting, Sarah convinced Oba this was not an internal assassination, but someone else coming for the talismans. Oba already suspected a dark Jedi, Set Hearth, of possibly going after the talismans. Oba explained to Sarah and Lucia how the Dark Lord of the Sith had been killed by Jedi on Ambria. He brought them to the monument. Caleb's name was on the monument, as well as the other Jedi who had died along with him. Sarah was saddened to learn that her father had been killed. When Oba described the Sith they had killed, Sarah realized it was not the man Caleb had protected her from when she was a child. Sarah is now committed to killing the Sith from her childhood. The Jedi are not going to send someone else to Doan to investigate the talismans, as Oba now believes Set Hearth would have already left the planet. As Sarah and Lucia boarded their ship to return to Doan, Sarah asked Lucia to reach out to the assassin she hired as she has another job for an assassin. Chapter 6. Set was on Doan for 2 days before going to a cantina owned by Quano. Set had killed the 2 bodyguards after Quano betrayed him. Quano brought Set to the miner's hideout. Drado was the miner that had found the Sith talismans, an amulet, and a ring. Set killed the 16 miners at the hideout and took the talismans off Drado's body. Set is living on Nal Hutta. It seems the story is leaving us in a point of wonder of who the next Sith apprentice will be, as there have been many options presented so far. Chapter 7. Zana arrived on Doan a couple of days after Set left. She found Quano and convinced him to bring her to a contact at the spaceport. Pommet was a janitor at the spaceport, but he used other people's ships to deliver spice to other planets. She paid for the nav information from Set's ship, learning he is from Nal Hutta. When she found out Pommet knew she was from Seotric, she killed Pommet and Quano, taking back her money and leaving Doan. Chapter 8. Bane has arrived on Prakith. The first man he encountered was not too pleased when Bane asked about Andendu and his followers. Bane acquired Andendu's holocron after easily defeating around 30 followers of Andendu. Although they were followers, they had no real force powers, proving them to be unworthy and easy opponents for Darth Bane. After retrieving the holocron, Bane returned to his ship and began his journey back to Seotric. Chapter 9. Lucia arrived on Paradise, a large casino platform in space where scum, as Lucia described them, could purchase anything that was illegal on the normal planet. Lucia was here to hire the Huntress, the assassin she had hired to kill Gelba. Sarah wants to meet the Huntress on Ambria, offering through Lucia to pay triple her normal rate. The Huntress agreed, and Lucia left Paradise. It was revealed that Lucia fought with the Gloomwalkers during Dez's time with them. She even killed Lieutenant Ulabor, shortly after Dez was arrested for the insubordination that also saved the lives of everyone in the unit. No one in the unit reported the friendly fire after the battle. Chapter 10. Zana arrived on Nal Hutta and went to Set's house while he was at a party. He returned home while she was still exploring his house. Set fooled her into thinking he thought she had followed him back from the party. Then they began a duel where she revealed to him that she was a Sith. Zana was a much better fighter than Set. When he would not yield, she used Sith sorcery on Set. Zana knows if his mind and will is strong, he will recover in about 2 days. If Set is weak-minded, then he will die, and she will have to find another to test for her new apprentice. Chapter 11. The Huntress met with Sarah on Ambria. Sarah has given the Huntress a sedative to use on Bane once she finds him. Sarah wants Bane alive. Sarah also offered to hire 20 mercenaries to help the Huntress capture Bane. Chapter 12. Bane studied Andendu's holocron during his return journey to Seotric. He had to go around the gatekeeper of the holocron and essentially slice the information out. After a couple of hours, Bane found the details to the ritual of essence transference, which was Andendu's secret to eternal life. Chapter 13. Set accepted Zana's offer to be her apprentice. He wanted to learn from her, as it was evident in their fight that she was stronger in the Force than he was. He also understood that refusing meant he was going to die once the conversation was over. Zana knows that Set is not thrilled to be a Sith apprentice, but is determined that he will accept the Sith ways soon enough. Chapter 14. The Huntress arrived at Bane's mansion on Seotric 4. She had a crew of 20 mercenaries, including Captain Jetter from the Doan Royal Guard. Bane returned home and was ambushed by the Huntress and her mercenaries. The Huntress was able to stab Bane, infecting him with the toxin Sarah had given her. Many soldiers, including Jetter, was killed by Bane during the fight. The soldiers began cleaning the dead and Bane from the mansion and got ready to depart back to Doan. Chapter 15. Chet told Zana an unregistered dropship landed near their estate shortly before Bane returned to Seotric 4. When Zana and Set arrived at the estate, no one was there. They found the aftermath of the battle and a pin with the colors of the Doan Royal Guard. Zana sent Set to investigate and find what he could. She is going to meet with Argyle 10. Zana only got the name Darth Ndendu out of Argyle before she killed him. Set knew of Ndendu from his time as an apprentice to Master Oba on the Council of First Knowledge. They do not know how Doan and Prakith are connected. Zana is mad at Bane because if he becomes immortal, he destroys the promises he made to Zana of one day becoming the ruler of the Sith. Zana and Set are going to Doan to find Bane and Ndendu's holocron on eternal life. Chapter 16. Bane is held in a stone dungeon underneath the castle on Doan. This dungeon has been closed for decades and Bane is the only prisoner. There is a self-destruct capability in the dungeon which will blow up the entire complex. Sarah, the Huntress, and Lucia are going to interrogate Bane. Sarah questioned Bane about her father's death, drugging him throughout. She got upset by the conversation and left the Huntress and Lucia in the cell with Bane after putting him back into a sedative state. Chapter 17. The Huntress went after Sarah, leaving Lucia in the cell alone with Bane. Although Lucia remembered him as Des during their time on the Gloomwalkers, she gave him a dose of the antidote, which would slowly wake him up. She wanted to repay a life debt for all the times Des saved the Gloomwalkers during the war. Lucia then left the cell and went to find Sarah. Chapter 18. Zana and Set have arrived at one of the ship entrances to the stone prison on Doan. Zana is going into the prison to find Bane. She has left Set to guard their ship. Set sensed Ndendu's holocron somewhere in the stone prison. He decided to disobey Zana's order of staying with the ship to go in and find the holocron. Chapter 19. Bane broke free from the cell, killing all of the soldiers outside of his cell. One of them was able to start the alarm before being killed. Bane felt the presence of Zana in the compound, though he does not know the reason for why she was here. He also does not know who Lucia is or why she helped him escape. The Huntress followed Sarah through the prison and told her that Lucia had betrayed her. The sounds of the alarm only proved the Huntress's statement. Chapter 20. Lucia began searching for Sarah. She found the Huntress instead. Lucia fell and injured her knee when she came upon the Huntress. The Huntress told Lucia that Sarah knew of her betrayal. Sarah went down the corridor to the self-destruct button. Lucia ran after her. The Huntress went back to her ship, but did not leave, as she still wants to witness the events that are unfolding. Zana has arrived in the room where Bane killed all of the soldiers. She realizes that Bane does not have his lightsaber, and gets back on his trail. Set found Ndendu's holocron, and went in search for the hangar the mercenaries had used in order to escape Doan. Sarah arrived at the control room to enter the self-destruct code. She is hesitating to finish the sequence. Chapter 21. Set found the hangar and also the Huntress inside. They began a battle of wits and fighting. Lucia confronted Bane. She tried to bring him back to Des. Zana attacked Bane with the Force, killing Lucia with the attack. Zana challenged Bane and realized he was still without his lightsaber. Chapter 22. Sarah hesitated in blowing up the facility. She went and found Lucia's body, bringing it with her to the escape shuttle. She then completed the sequence to destroy the stone prison. Set knew the Huntress could kill him, but he began disabling ships in the hangar. When there was only 2 left, he struck a deal with her to let him leave, or he would kill them both by disabling the last 2 ships. The Huntress let him leave, as the sirens for the self-destruction of the prison played overhead. Chapter 23. Bane and Zana were battling as the explosions began. One put tons of rock between them, ending the confrontation for the moment. Zana was unhappy at her missed opportunity and ran for her ship. Bane arrived at the hangar, finding the Huntress. She offered him his lightsaber and holocron, then asked him if she could study under him. In return for being Bane's apprentice, the Huntress said she could get him out of the prison on her ship and bring him to Sarah. Bane agreed. Zana escaped the prison in her ship, surprised to see Set not there. She moved on from the fact rather quickly and was determined to find Bane to finish what she had started. Chapter 24. Sarah escaped to the only place she could find peace, Caleb's camp on Ambria. On the outskirts of the camp, she buried Lucia. She also realized how far into the dark side she had fallen. She did not want to continue and was determined to live the rest of her life how Caleb lived his. Bane and the Huntress arrived on Ambria a day after Sarah. After a brief conversation, Bane realized Sarah would never help him in her healing ways as long as she lived. He had the Huntress kill Sarah. Chapter 25. Zana realized how foolish she was for not utilizing her knowledge of Sith sorcery during the fight. She was determined to show Bane all she had learned in the ways of Sith sorcery during their next encounter. The Huntress has changed her name as she is now Bane's new apprentice. She is now Darth Cognus. Bane has gone to the ship to send a message to Zana's ship. Bane's message told Zana that he was on Ambria at the healer's camp. Confident it was not a trap, but a challenge to finish what they had started on Doan and follow the rule of two, Zana set a course for Ambria. Zana arrived at the camp. Bane told her Cognus was the new apprentice of the Sith. Cognus said she will study under the true Sith Master, whoever wins the duel. Zana agreed and the duel began. Chapter 26. Zana was losing the lightsaber duel and decided it was time to unleash a spell of Sith sorcery on Bane. The Sith sorcery brought out a pterodactyl-type creature with his father's eyes screeching. The name Hurst, his father's name. However, Bane in his Sith journey has already countered his greatest fear, and with one yell the creatures disappeared. Zana, seeing Bane resist the first spell, used another. This one brought tentacles up from the ground that attacked Bane. Bane was about to die to Zana's dark side tendrils. As he fell to the ground, he grabbed her wrist and used the power of essence transfer he learned from Adendu's holocron. Bane's body fell lifeless as Bane and Zana's minds battled in her body. Chapter 27. When Zana rose, she called herself Darth Zana, Dark Lord of the Sith, and took Cognus as her apprentice. Cognus took Bane's lightsaber as her own until she was able to create one for herself. Although she called herself Darth Zana, Cognus noticed that the person of the body seemed awkward in the body. The end of the chapter pointed out that Zana was continuously clenching and unclenching the fingers of her left hand. Epilogue. Set began studying the holocron in the ship he had stolen as he journeyed to another mansion of his own on another world. This book ended as I suppose how it was always meant to end. Bane is dead. Zana is the new Dark Lord, and she has found herself a new apprentice. This is one of my favorite books I have read to this point, because it seemed like every chapter I could not tell how this result would come to be, or even if the result I expected would happen. This story, because it was a trilogy, had me so involved in the main characters of Bane and Zana, as I have been following their story for so long. Although I do not think I hear any more about the characters in this trilogy, it kept me intrigued throughout. It was a great book and a great trilogy. What I've outlined in these videos is only a summary, and my thoughts on the story as a whole. If it seemed like an interesting story to you, I would definitely recommend giving it a read. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day.